Cadis was good tonight. Wow.
I ain't surprised. But one man he might be is Bite. I'm going to try and get him in here for an interview, and we will hear the thoughts of the mastermind. I hear somebody joining Mumble. Let me check. Who is
Cadis
with us
here
right now? Cadis, congratulations on your big win, buddy.
Thanks, mate.
Did you agree? Let's just get down to bare tax here. Did you agree with the fact that a game had to be played in the first place? Surely the fact you beat them in the main season meant that you would have won the sort of... If you're going to use a discriminator, is that not what admins usually do? Why was there even a playoff? Not that I'm complaining.
Yeah, I don't really know either. I said, like, it doesn't make sense. I wasn't in a very good position to make an argument for it, because obviously that would favour me a lot if there wasn't the need for it. But hopefully next season they'll rethink it. Like, I spoke to Perm, just like, I was talking about something else, and as a side note, we discussed this a little bit, and he said maybe for next season they'll look at it again. But obviously for this season I wasn't in much of a position to make an argument. But yeah, it's fine. Like, we beat them once, so we can just beat them again. It's not too big a deal at the end of the day.
We've got Bite joining us as well. Maybe we can get another TSE guy to even up things here. Bite, that was a close fought game, but you guys didn't come out on top in the end. How do you feel right now?
Not too bad, considering. Did a really good comebacks, but too little too late, I think. The analogy was we conceded too many to make a comeback, really.
How seriously were you taking this game, though? You know, it's not necessarily that important. It just decides the order of the playoff. You're still in the playoff, and it isn't actually the playoff.
True, but it's always good to get your mind in that mode, because otherwise, if you start off, easy and slow and so on, then you might not take it seriously ever. So it's good to put them in gear, thinking that this was just a practice for the pre-playoff, so practice for the actual playoffs.
A dress rehearsal.
So it wasn't important, right? It was just a game, as always.
Come on, none of your trash talk, Samsy.
For both teams, I'm guessing. I'm hoping so. But either way, it's good practice for both.
I'm crying.
Like,
I'm crying.
You came in here, Bite. You didn't come away with the victory, but Ips was telling us in the pre-game, like, you've been putting in a lot of work in terms of strategy and discussion with your team. Do you feel you've made progress on that front? Are you happy you've taken something away from this game?
Definitely. If it wasn't for Nox on process, it would have been a different score for sure. We rushed a bit too many times. Our mids were solid as hell. It's just the first round we lost, but it's improved a hell of a lot. But yeah, we rushed too much, and Nox took advantage of that, realised it, and just destroyed me every time when I almost had Uber. So he knew that. So he knew what he was doing. So it's well played to him.
Yeah, he caught you out of position a couple of times in like 93%.
Yeah,
exactly. Really well played by him.
It's annoying.
If you look at the logs as well, he destroyed damage-wise. It was these pinpoint Ubers that he got onto you, this single Ubers, and just his overall really good. He played really different to what he played on Gullywash, right? He was really passive in the beginning. Also on the mids of process, he was not really committing too much, and then he forced you to fight him with Uber versus Uber on the last always, and rolled it through from there. So it was a smart play by him.
Yeah, unfortunately it's like there's only so much I can think for myself as well as the team.
I know you feel.
There's only so much, and I just forget like the fact that I just don't quite have it. And Nox knew that, and what you get for having one of the best brains in the game. So it's well played to him. And the thing is, there's contrast from Gullywash, because I thought I had a really good game on Gullywash. I didn't die so much, and I was in the right position most of the time. But it was the opposite on process. So.
We were talking a bit about something in the pre-game we were discussing the concepts of the team that at the moment we see that as soon as there's like an advantage or an Uber on the field, that sometimes Nox just takes it in with Cadis being behind him. And in your team, it seems that War is getting a lot of the Ubers and a lot of the initial heals as well, while we feel that your team is playing around his damage and around him, like keeping him alive and utilizing on his DM skills. But I felt that this didn't really work in your favor on Gullywash. A couple of times, like the players behind that Uber would just get caught off guard and end up getting dropped right behind that Uber exchange, and it ended up being like horrible for your rounds. Is that something that you've been seeing over the last couple of weeks? Because I'm obviously watching at the moment, since I'm not in players. I've been watching the streams, and I feel like this has been happening for quite a while. That you feel that your scouts are just taking too much damage and dying too easily behind the Ubers.
Yeah, that is a problem that we're having. We've only just changed it literally this week with War not getting as many Ubers. Like, he did get still at least 50 to 60, I think. But on process, I'm pretty sure Clark got more solo Ubers than War did. We're trying to get shit around because we feel that Clark can make the space so that War can do the damage after, as opposed to War going first, and so on and so forth. So it's just adjusting really, and it was good to try it out against a good team. So we got a taste of it. So now we just need to refine it a little bit and hopefully
that's
be
the
better.
thing. I guess that's a problem for you as well, that you can play your cookie cutter strats against any other team in Premiership, but against Willy Wonkas and like Epsilon in the end, right? So when you want to adapt stuff, you have only one team basically you can try stuff against, because Epsi is not available anymore. It's a very weird situation, I guess, to try to adapt and try to form a team at the moment, or try to make them understand what you want to do while changing the concept of the game or their game.
Yeah, indeed.
Light, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you expect to beat TLR?
I think we've got a good chance, that's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to get cocky and say, yeah, we'll beat them and destroy them.
But you're always cocky.
Of course.
At least on your stream you are, so are you going to rape them or not?
A mentality of thinking that you're good is better than a mentality of thinking that you're shit. So I'd rather think that I'm better than someone than I'm not.
So why can't you just say you're destroying them?
Well, no, because I'm not that confident to say that at the moment with our current lineup and strat. We need to refine it. So we'll do our best, and I think we've got a good chance. I think the fact that we got good scores against you guys, I thought you were going to wipe us on process. That was it. Gullywash I knew would be close, but on process, 1 or 2 mistakes cost us the round, because we were on your last few times at least, but you held very well, and we rushed it. So could have been a different scoreline.
I think on process we got like really lucky on the last pushes of yours, because we were, like always had like 5 people in the Uber and at least dropped like 2.
Yeah.
I don't know if there was like planned or something.
That is a situation where people go the same route. Yeah.
The problem I was talking about earlier. I have a question actually for Jason, because people in chat are asking me to have a question for him. So I'm obviously aware of how you play the Gullywish mids, and we talked about it in the pre-game, how you are very fast and you tag people initially, denying them a buff and positioning on mids. I felt that on the Gullywish mids, at least in the first 3 or 4, you couldn't really do as much. There was one particular mid where nobody would really jump you. I think, James, if I'm not mistaken, it was the second mid, where literally everyone of Team TSE would go the opposite side of you, and you would be stuck alone, being fast, but completely isolated, not being able to damage them. So how did that feel? How did you change it up? Obviously, you made the mids win, or like work in the end. Sorry for my bad English there.
I don't know, like I was still getting the early damage on the scout, and by like the 3rd mid or so, I noticed like the soldier from Big Door would always do the exact same jump to their side, so by like the 3rd round I was tagging him in the air, and then one when he landed as well. Like I wasn't doing the same damage, but because they were like had such a passive setup, I think the damage I did was enough most of the time. Because like they were coming in, like if they're coming in aggressive, you need to do a lot of damage, you need to do it fast, but if they're playing passive, if you're just consistently tagging like people while not taking any damage yourself, I just played it like that instead. Like the whole game today, I played a lot more reserved than normal. Like I went like 15 and 9 or something.
Yeah, you had very little death. That was it was a very different style that you would usually play. But we've talked about this in the future, you and me in private. It obviously comes with Nox having a different approach towards TF2, right? And the concept that he plays in a team, he doesn't want you to be as aggressive as you usually would be. But it seems that it works out in your favor. And I have another question for Gullywish, who was calling that broader strategy of sniper heavy and big door.
I think Zebasai and Nox are like mutually happy to do it. Zeb's just like sitting waiting to snipe, and Nox is like just sitting waiting to heavy. So Nox is like, I'm going heavy. Zeb's like, I'm going sniper. And that's pretty much, it came up like the other day.
Because that was for us, it was really, we thought like it had something to do. Yeah,
trying to change the pace or something. We were giving you some credit, but it just seemed to
it didn't bomb. Work out in the end.
Yeah, I don't really know what happened with it. I can't really remember too well. I know the reason we did it was because before that, we were having a lot of success sending Salt aggressive on right. He was getting war quite a lot, but on like the last round before we did the heavy sniper, like he said, he's playing so far back now that he can't go there anymore. And so we just said, like we said before the game, like once our mid stop working, we'll pull out the heavy sniper and see what happens. I can't really remember what happened to the heavy sniper.
We just got
like destroyed, like we got pushed back. I mean,
exactly.
I'm not sure, like, I think it's because they all just play passive on their side. Normally, like, you have a couple of overextenders on left, so they take a lot of damage as I drop down. But, I don't know. It was a bit of a blur, that one.
We've got Droso here as well. Like, I know outside in the middle fights, particularly on Gullywash, because you can basically see the big door and the choke fight at the same time. It seemed like even though a lot of the time it was war and bite against maybe Kairos, Nox, and Two Nuts, still the flank was being bust open, or there was a lot of deaths coming in for TSE. Droso, how did it feel to be on that flank away from the heels? Were you scared? Zebasai running in your face?
I don't know. I was actually constantly I was constantly going from like big doll to on medic, so I wasn't really on the flank. It would be a better question for like Flip or for second, I guess.
Flip one is 1-on-1s against Zebo consistently, even though he ended up on the lowest damage.
He didn't have a really good game on Goody Wash.
His stats were bad, but he seemed to be making some important plays. Or
he was holding, we paid attention to it in the cast. You can look it up in the VODs. He was holding back from time to time just 2 players on the flank by itself, and would get like Zebo in while he was fighting Zebo and Salt at the same time. So for us, he was. Even though he did low damage and he was pretty isolated, it was an outstanding play from time to time. Obviously, the logs don't show it. This is the danger of this rock, and at logs you see he has like 3,900 damage in the end, and it's nothing really for a scout on a map like Gully Wash. But we felt he was quite strong, to be fair, and he didn't deserve to be called not having a good game, I feel.
Can I ask another question to the TSE guys?
Sure.
What happened on last when Zebasai went spy and just kept it? It was like a soldier standing above the point,
there was
not even giving a fuck.
For a soldier coming from main, and for a second I think he went forward to deal with it, and I helped him. So we killed that soldier.
No, he was literally standing on top of point and not looking down while it was getting kept.
Now we can tell you what we did. We talked about it in the next transition. Because he spammed the soldier in the lobby area that was called there, he basically deafened. Is it called deafened? Yeah, he deafened himself to the sound of the point getting kept right behind him, and he was so focused on hitting his rockets on the soldier that he wouldn't see the cap and he wouldn't hear the cap as well. It was a bit. We were very surprised by it, and I felt, who's making these noises? Some clickety clacking going on in my ear. We felt that with these stupid little mistakes that both teams seem to do from time to time, I felt like that Willy Wonkas cope with them better team spirit wise. I always felt like when, for example, Forsaken was doing this play of spamming rockets and not seeing the spy behind him, it would take him like another 1.5 rounds to actually get back into his game, and I would see like on the next mid he would just trade roamer for roamer and stuff like this, and I felt that a bit of that Willy Wonka's handled going down around a bit better. Obviously they were always around up, so that's a better situation to see that from, I guess, or a better perspective.
I think it also comes down to us not playing that often, if you know what I mean. Like, they're like 2 or 3 times a week, and it's just like for having fun mostly. I mean, we obviously want to win. Like, I'm not saying that we are not keen of winning, but we are not like that eager to prove a point or something. So we're not getting too frustrated even we lose. Like, if you look to our scores throughout the whole season, we pretty much.
Yeah, but I think you guys came to that. You guys came to that mindset of being like, we just play for fun because you started not winning your officials convincingly.
But apparently it's still enough to be in playoffs. Like, yeah.
All right, let me start some drama here. You guys are fucking boring me. I got a comment here from Basky during the game, and then I asked him whenever the interview started if he wanted me to read it out, but I'll read it out and see who wants to jump on this one. He feels like Byte is the one holding TSE back, and quite a lot too. He says, I honestly wouldn't even allow him to medic at Prem. He just keeps fucking up. Would be great if you could ask Itch for his opinion as it's Byte holding back or not, if it's Byte holding back or not. Then he says that's his personal opinion, blah blah blah, and I said, do you want to be specific about what he's fucking up on? And he says, yeah, dropping players on Ubers as well as being caught out constantly out of position, and a lot of times he finds himself going to a certain place to show something, getting himself killed.
But look, we talked about this in the VOD, and from my experience watching War stream and Byte stream as well, they have this kind of setup. They have a setup and the concept of Ubers. It doesn't matter if this is now a wrong setup to play Willy Wonkas, to play Epsi, it doesn't matter. They have a setup. There is a call, okay, War is taking the Ubers in, and then nobody behind him should even be near that flash or near that Uber. And we talked about it, especially on Process, where this happened a couple of times, that Byte obviously called for just war getting even near that enemy Uber, and like 3 other players decided to stay near and just get completely demolished. And there's only so much shit like you can give Byte for that. Obviously there's a lot of stuff I disagree in the plays and the way you call and whatever, but it also comes down to the people actually understanding what he's talking about. And this exact problem is happening for about 5 weeks now in that team, and that's stupid. And I think you'd agree, Byte.
On some level, yeah. Yeah, no, I am. Yeah. On some level, I would, but it's the compensation you get for trying to help other people out, because these people on paper aren't as good as the paper, aren't good as the people on paper from Willy Wonkas. It's, pound for pound, the players in Willy Wonkas are top players, most of them. So, and some of these players aren't as top. So, something has to give. And if that's me, then I don't really care if someone says that. Genuinely, so I'm going to be out of position. I'm going to drop Ubers. I'm going to probably drop someone because I'm too busy trying to help them out with something.
I honestly don't like you, but I don't think that's a secret. But I have to give you that kind of credit that you're like leading the team to the victories or like to the effort they make during the game. Like just from watching your stream casually, like you can feel that you're pretty much the only one like building your team and like giving them the right directions to move, and then the rest is pretty much silent, except for maybe War giving some damage calls.
I said that in the pre-game, even before we started, that even doing these little videos that we heard about shows that there is some effort, someone wants to improve certain people, and then I can understand that you get wound up from time to time and you get angry because the same problem basically happens over a certain amount of weeks. It feels like the effort in the team then is split, and I've been in that situation before, so I can relate to what you're saying there, Byte.
Yeah, it's standard. Like, there's nothing in it really for me because I feel I know the game inside out. If you gave me any situation, I know what to do. But it's just translating it to newer players who need to play at the top level. It's that simple. And to do that, I have to communicate that across, and that means I'm going to lose focus on my own play. If I had numbnuts or Nox with me, I would just be easily happy just staying silent and let them deal with it, because then I can focus my class really well. But that is not the case. So, and that was my choice. So
you're doing good. Don't worry about it.
Droso, how do you feel about being tutored by Byte? Are you letting him down? Do you feel bad when you die on the flank or run into an Uber when you shouldn't?
Idiot. He's not on the flank. What are you talking about?
I don't fall on the flank, yeah. But well, it's obviously my mistake. I feel bad, but sometimes I feel like I'm a bit of a scapegoat. It's the same in my Islander team. I feel like sometimes, but yeah, I don't know.
Droso whipping boy.
Come on,
laughs, is that true?
You know it's true.
The silence might say it all.
I didn't hear the question from Admirable.
Is Droso the scapegoat in SNSD?
Not really. Like, it's just like we point out the mistakes that people make, and as the only scout in the team, he has a lot of jobs, like capping the point. It's really obvious, like, when he doesn't do his job compared to, like, say, when a spy doesn't do his job. It's not that he's a scapegoat, it's just his mistakes stand out more. And I think it's the same for TCM, because he's always near the combo. So, like, if anyone's going to make a mistake and get picked off in, like, an Uber battle, it's going to be him, because he has to be close to come back in. So it's just kind of his mistakes stick out. It's a general example. Like, I'm talking about more from watching, like, your stream and things like that. Not so much tonight.
All right.
Anyway, how do we get here? What kind of an interview is this?
I've heard enough.
It's admirable for drama.
To play us out here, we've got Salt. He's going to play us a little tune on his lovely flute.
And then we're going to end this with it.
Alright.
Do we want to say goodbye first? Wait,
bye.
I'm sorry.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
Well played.
GG, well played.
Nice, good ending.
Good night.